Pests beware, your fields have heroes. The Pests and Predators podcast is brought to you by Field Heroes and is powered by the Western Grains Research Foundation. Learn how beneficial insects fight pests and protect your crops. Visit fieldheroes.ca today.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147 at Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Monday version of the program. Really appreciate you making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. Also, of course, as always, a big shout out to everybody listening out there on the RealAg Radio podcast. Whether you're streaming or downloading it, we do appreciate you mark and follow. And making sure you're consuming it. We got a lot of planter time, a lot of seeder time right now. No better way to spend some of that day. You can't listen to music all day. You got to get informed as well, and we're a great place to do that. And we do appreciate you choosing Real Agriculture. It is very, very much appreciated. I'm broadcasting today from Washington D.C., and I've never been here before. I'm actually really excited. I go to a lot of places. I travel a lot. If you follow along with the program, you know this. But I've never been to D.C., which seems bizarre. I know. I don't know how it hasn't happened till now. But I am in Washington, D.C. this week. National Association of Farm Broadcasters, their Washington Week. I'm a proud member of the NAFB. And we got a great few days here in D.C. We're going to a Nats Guardians game, but it's not all just fun. It is not all just fun. There is work to be done here in Washington, D.C. They got a whole bunch of we're touring. We're going to the NASA thing here in D.C. I don't know what to expect there. I don't know what to expect. But we're also they got a whole bunch of interviews lined up. There's a bunch of the different commodity groups are here. They've got a speaker coming in later today. They've got USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins will be here for some interviews. We got EPA Secretary Lee Zeldin will be here as well. So it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to it before, and I'm pretty jacked about it. Not too often I land on an airplane, and boy, at Reagan Airport, when the pilot said, just to warn everybody, we're coming in on runway whatever, and it's a little bit shorter than usual. We're gonna have to grip on the brakes pretty hard. He not lying. Nope. Clearly short runway because we hit hard and whoo, we were just like, and we went whoo again, and it was but keep your seatbelts on or else you're gonna lose some teeth. That's the kind of landing that we had at Reagan Airport. But it is good to be in town. Pretty cool. Looking forward to it. And we'll have some different interviews throughout the week here on RealAg Radio, as well as also be putting them up at RealAgriculture.com. Now, if you have any feedback on today's show, you can send me an email, shaney@RealAgriculture.com. You can also call the RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. Should also mention that the RealAg intern is back. Chase Chambers, the one and only. He's going to be coming back today. It's his first day back, third summer in a row. He thinks we're that awesome. He came back for a third summer. We are so happy to have him. It's going to be great. It is really going to be cool to have Chase back. He's gone to Lethbridge College. He's gone to SAIT. That kid knows the latest and great. I'm an old timer when it comes to some of the audio and video stuff that he is able to do. And I'm looking forward to him being back. He's a great kid, and we do love him, and we're very excited to have him back for the summer. Also, I was going to mention that as well tonight, The Agronomist, check it out, hosted by Lindsay Smith, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain. And I actually, to be honest with you, have zero clue. I don't even know. I have no idea what topic it is. But it will be agronomic, and it'll be awesome. Speaking of Lindsay, you're probably wondering, why am I here on this Monday? Well, Just the schedule, it's all turned around here today, people. I'm hosting today. Lindsay's hosting tomorrow. Wednesday, undetermined. Thursday, we have no idea. And Friday, it's just a big blank at this point. I could be traveling. I could be here. Lindsay could be hosting. She may just be a panelist. I know Kelvin is pretty much guaranteed. Kelvin will be here on Friday, so you can look forward to that. Today on Agronomic Monday, we've got Peter W.P. Johnson here. We're going to talk about killing weeds, putting crop in the ground, potential for Bayer maybe to pull glyphosate off the market. What would that entail? That would be like tillage time for everybody. That can't be a good scenario. I like tillage, but not tillage all the time, every time. There seems to be some consequences that we would have to be dealing with if that happened. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got Peter E.P. Johnson joining me here on RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, right after this quick break. Time for a product spotlight with Nutrient Ag Solutions. Joined right now by Rob Clayton, the Senior Vice President of North American Retail. Margins are tight in the cropping sector. It's one of those years where let's get to the other side of it. Live to fight another day, so to speak. You've also got some financial support services or products that you offer your customers as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really about being one partner and all in, as we say. We like to think of ourselves as the organisation that you come to for all of your farming needs, including the in-crop financing. And Nutrient's invested about $3.5 billion into a financing program for our growers so that they can get the products when they agronomically need them, not when their cash flow allows. It's a really important part of farming in North America, and particularly while we've got compressed crop prices.
If somebody wants more information, obviously in a lot of the local communities there is a Nutrient store, but are there other ways to reach out?
NutrientAgSolutions.com is a good way. There's lots of different ways you can contact our people, but really the best way, go into your local store, meet the local people and see what they got to offer.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com, and what an opportunity! Oh my gosh! You think you can't grow better wheat? You are absolutely wrong. We're going to show you how to strive for those record wheat yields that they get in the UK and in New Zealand. You can grow 150 bushel wheat. I'll show you how.
Catch WheatPete's Word every Wednesday on RealAgriculture.com or download the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. And welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Hey, tracking livestock, it just got a whole lot easier. The CLTS movement module records animals moving off premises. Although this is not yet a requirement under the regulations, CCIA has streamlined reporting to prepare for future changes to support compliance. You can learn more by going to support.canadaid.ca. Okay, let's bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend, the wild man himself. Peter W.P. Johnson. Pete, how are we doing?
I'm awesome, Shaun. The man, the myth, the legend. Man, I feel
like you need some intro music.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No. Anyway, life is good. It has been a really unique spring here in Ontario. We have areas that are 80% complete. And now they were actually 80% complete, like by almost by May 1st, which is unheard of. We have other people sitting on their hands. We have other people that just seem to keep getting dumped on. I talked to a grower on Saturday night, and he's south of London, and that's where they got so much rain last year. And he says, Peter, like, man, oh man, we had 3.5 inches of rain last week. And meanwhile,
poor people.
Okay, Shaun, everybody's perception of this is different. If you're in Alberta, you would say, thank you for the rain. If you're in Ontario, It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was talking to a farmer on Friday in southern Alberta, and he was like, a lot of the crop's in. She's pretty dry. Need moisture fast. But it's a little bit cooler this week. We'll see. There's supposed to be some rain, different parts of Western Canada today, actually. I'm not sure what has actually fallen and what hasn't, as I'm in Washington, D.C. But, Pete, you could pretty much take any year and be like, yeah, we need it to rain in the prairies. For the most part. The southern prairies, anyway.
It's the exception when you don't need it to rain in the prairies, that's for sure, right? And I mean that down into Montana, like Idaho, they're seeding into dust in Idaho. It's not just the Canadian prairies. It's the prairies, period.
Go west, they said. Go west. Somebody had scratched it on the posters where it's exceptionally dry all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh-ha.
I think
Anyway.
I've told this story before. I read a great book about cattle ranching in North America from about 1850 through 1900. And when they were first grazing, like the Dakotas and Wyoming, I think it was Wyoming in particular, and they were trying to recruit people to come out. They were telling them it's impossible to overgraze. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure if that was just ignorance or just a flat out lie or what it was, but we all know, yes, you can. Yes.
Yeah. That was a heck of a spin, Shaun. That was a heck of a spin. Now, mind you, it might, in their, I'm not sure it's in their defense, but perhaps because it had not been grazed by buffalo all that closely, maybe the first 2 or 3 years it had such a good moisture reserve and good root system that it looked like you could graze it like crazy. But I'll guarantee by year 5 they knew you could overgraze it. Like, come on, man, there are limits.
Yeah, who the heck were we listening to, right? Yeah, you just imagine the spousal arguments that were going on. I told you we shouldn't have come out here, that stupid wagon. We should have stayed in New York. Okay. It is what it is, and we're here. Okay. What I've been hearing from a lot of farmers, Pete, is that Ontario wheat crop looks mighty exceptional. Now, this is your opportunity to gloat. Did you have anything to do with this?
Well, of course. I'm Wheat Pete. Come on. What question is that? So actually, Shaun, I don't take any credit at all, but I do think that wheat has become a real crop in the whole of the Great Lakes Basin. And I think the YEN program, the Yield Enhancement Network, has really helped drive that. And so it's sort of like in the 90s, in the 2000s, there was one guy that promoted wheat in most of the Great Lakes Basin. And that guy happened to be me. And I might have a big voice, but when you're shouting into the wind all by yourself, you don't get heard very much. And I think that's changed because we have Dennis Pennington, we have Joanna Fallings, we have Laura Lindsay in Ohio now that's working on and a little bit more on wheat. And I think growers with the YEN program are actually managing wheat. And finally, people realize that if you want to have good wheat, you plant early. And you cannot be, full stop, Shaun, you cannot be a record soybean grower and a record wheat grower at the same time, at least not on the same field. Because you want to be record soybean grower, you got to grow that full season soybean. And if you plant wheat after that, you plant wheat in November, it'll never be great wheat. No. So, and people, diehard or not diehard, people that really want to manage wheat, they've realized that the amount of wheat we planted in September last year was awesome. We had a good fall. We did have too much snow. There's quite a bit of snow mold that is impacting some. So, and that, Shaun, is a real story. In the snow mold affected fields, we've really seen that the stem count, right? So driving past, you look at that field and say, oh man, that's good wheat. But you're looking down the row. You get out there and Adam scouts with me and he's scouted a bunch. I've scouted a bunch. I've talked to other scouts where with snow mold has had impact. All of a sudden we go from 80 stems per square foot, maybe 90 stems per square foot. We're back to 60. And 60 stems per square foot is okay, but it's not record wheat in Ohio or Michigan, Ontario, New York. Like, it's just not. So it looks good and it is good. I don't mean to take anything away from it, but there are some fields where it's kind of like, yeah, it's not, it looks better than the stem count tells me. So just watch that.
Well, I this is again, anecdotal, qualitative, but I think seeing more farmers this spring with spring wheat planting earlier than I have seen. Just from my
Yes!
farmer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, way to go, Shaun. And I mean, Brian Barris has pushed that. Pete, by the way, pushed that way back in late 90s, early 2000s. It's good. Get the darn stuff in the ground. Use that early moisture, particularly if you're dry. It has such a big impact.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit, Pete. You were doing it in the 40s. And that was too easy.
Touche.
Okay, but there is a lot of people asking the question, a little bit concerned about the price of wheat, and how do I manage it? Right?
You just had to burst my bubble, didn't you, man? Like you just had to go there. You couldn't leave it alone. It's like the wheat crop looks awesome. Get out there, give her, baby, give her.
There's an opening. I'm driving through it.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I understand, and I'm not a marketer, so always take what I say a bit of a grain of salt. But I understand that wheat, soft red wheat here in the province of Ontario, is being sold into the feed trade for $10 a ton under the price of corn.
Ouch.
And like it should be $30 a ton over the price of corn. It's $10 a ton under, and you just go, oh my gosh. I have clients that are sitting with wheat in the bin, and the price is so poor that they've actually said to me that wheat, it might well sit there and be sold as new crop next year because the price looks just enough better to pay for storage all summer long. And we had the discussion about that. For goodness sakes, move it. Make sure you have diatomaceous earth in there, because there is nothing that attracts insects like wheat in storage. So yeah, the price of wheat really does stink. And lots of growers are discussing, do we cut back on nitrogen? Can I get away without my plant growth regulator? Do I need an early fungicide? Do I need that herbicide in the spring? And I'm getting those questions, Shaun, from New York, from Michigan, from Ontario, from Quebec. Everybody is kind of looking at it and saying, boy, profitability is not that great right now on wheat.
Yeah, you look last June, we were like $7.55 on Chicago wheat. We are right now $5.43.
Gee, thanks, Shaun. Yeah, she's not good from that perspective.
Not great.
A few growers. I have growers who contracted wheat last summer for this summer delivery, so 2025 wheat crop at $8.50 a bushel. So those growers are in good shape. But if you're a poor marketer like Wheat Pete, yeah, she's not pretty.
Well, but again, this is one of the reasons why we've seen some negativity in our Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index. It's just one example, right? Wheat is very much a staple crop, especially as you move west. And, with all the other shenanigans going on in the trade arena, there is people thinking, maybe I should grow wheat because it's a little bit safer. There's a lot of factors that go into this, but it does speak to why there's a lot of concern about profitability on some of these crops. Because, hey, wheat might not be good, Pete, but what's awesome? Right? But you know what I mean there, right?
Maybe kidney beans? Maybe kidney beans. There were some good contracts on kidney beans if you contracted them last fall.
Right.
Those contracts aren't so good today, and they're hard to find, Shaun.
Well, on the rapid fire, I've heard a few farmers say they've got it at edibles because the market's not very good. Right?
Absolutely. White beans, like the bigger edible bean crops, the large seeded edibles are really specialty. You got to have a bean machine, and some of those there still looks like there's a little bit of demand, but no, blacks, whites, they're not. There's no big dollars coming towards the farmer in any of those crops, unfortunately.
It's kind of the story here in 2025. Hey, understanding the challenges you face, Nutrien Ag Solutions works with you to find the right solution every time. Nutrien Ag Solutions is one partner, all in. Visit nutrienagsolutions.ca to learn how their offerings work together to support your operation. Shaun Haney hosting RealAg Radio here today on this Monday. I'm joined by Pete Johnson. We'll be back right after this.
Every successful harvest story begins with the right seed. And at Alliance Seed, we're committed to helping you achieve success every year. Our top-performing wheat, barley, oat, pea, and lentil varieties are tailored to meet the unique challenges of your farm, ensuring high yields, strong standability, and reliable disease resistance. Discover the Alliance difference at allianceseed.com or call 1-877-270-2890.
Canola is more than just a pretty face in the prairie landscape. It's a big business, both here and around the world, that requires you to be informed and up to date on everything it takes to grow a successful crop. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com has an expert library of video resources covering markets, agronomy, and more to help you grow a healthy and profitable canola crop. Visit canolaschool.com today. Brought to you by BASF Canada and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
I'm Lindsay Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lindsay Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147 at Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host, joined by Peter Wheat Pete Johnson. I'm going to introduce him, the one and the only. Hey, don't put your yield at risk. Put your trust in proven solutions. Anvil Nitrogen Stabilizer, Super U Premium Fertilizer, and Tribune Nitrogen Stabilizer from Koch Agronomic Services. These products offer higher active ingredient concentrations that imitator brands they just can't match. See the difference at defendyourn.ca. Okay, Pete, I want to talk about weeds, and we're in a big conglomerate here, depending on where you're farming, of burn off and in crop being right around the corner here. Nighttime temperatures, definitely something that factor into your decision making on a day-to-day basis, whether you go or no go.
100%, Shaun, but not just nighttime temperatures. And this, I think, is, we talk lots about this in the fall, and the fleabane. So here in Ontario, the fleabane is really getting close to bolting. In fact, I'm not in Essex County. My bet is that it is bolting in Essex County. And the dandelions are in full flower. In fact, you want to talk about spraying, Shaun? I am so tired of talking about spray your dandelions in the fall. Oh my gosh, it just drives me nuts. I drive past a wheat field. It's yellow. It's just a big yellow dandelion patch.
You sure that's not canola?
I am 1,000% sure it's not canola, Shaun.
Just checking.
Because believe it or not, the canola, it's just in bud. It hasn't quite started to flower yet, at least not in the part of the world that I'm in.
Good analysis on your part. That's good.
Yeah. So I do scout canola, by the way, and the canola has bolted. And so that means the fleabane is bolting, and the dandelion, as soon as that happens, they're way tougher to kill. And by the way, one of the things we always reach for with fleabane is Aragon, or in the U.S. we call it Sharpen, right? Saflufenicil is the active ingredient, and it's one of those key players when I want to do a burn down ahead of my soybean crop. But if I'm in the fall and I'm burning down my edible beans, and I can't use glyphosate anymore in most of my edible beans because the buyers don't want me to burn down with glyphosate. And it has a huge impact, Shaun, on the amount of weed control I get in the fall. But regardless, I know in the fall, and I've told this to clients and they didn't listen to me and they split fields just the way it worked out, and it's cost them big money. If you spray Aragon's Sharpen on a cloudy day or late in the day, early in the morning, it's almost like you didn't even put it in the tank. It's very slow. It's one of these herbicides that wants to be sprayed between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. with nice sunshine. And in the fall, we know that. We talk about that. You're going to burn down those edibles. You got to do it under these conditions. If it doesn't work today to do that, you're way better off to wait till tomorrow for the sunshine. Man, it's spring and we want to plant the crop.
Yeah.
And so we don't wait. And we are spraying Aragon with glyphosate on glyphosate-tolerant fleabane. And some growers, most growers, I think, add metribuzin as well, Sencor. That's the other thing we add in. And it doesn't matter, but in terms of weather conditions, but you spray that Aragon, I don't know, after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, or you spray it on a cloudy day, and then you wonder why you don't kill the fleabane. If you want to kill the fleabane, you need to do it between 11 and 4 on a nice sunny day. And when you look at the research data, it's really interesting. We give Aragon an 80% control rating on glyphosate-resistant fleabane, but the range is from, I don't know, I'd have to look at the research again, but let's say from 10% control to 100% control. And you wonder why. Well, it's called water volume. It's called don't shorten yourself on surfactant and play the weather. And the problem is when you want to plant the crop, playing the weather gets really tough, right?
Yeah, it makes me inefficient, Pete. I gotta go. I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting forever for those perfect conditions.
And the problem is, if you're growing IP soybeans, you're growing just Roundup ready soybeans they're not either extend or enlist. If you don't kill the fleabane before the soybeans come up, you know what, Shaun? You have no recourse whatsoever. There's nothing that will kill the fleabane. Yeah. And in Peter Sikkema's work, you can have up to a 90%. That's 90% yield loss. So come on, give your head a shake. Like it really matters in those situations. If you have extend and list, that's a totally different story. So it all depends on what game you're playing. But then you talk nighttime temperatures. Lots of growers, looking at. I got a great email from Mark saying, like, I want to spray my wheat, but I keep getting these low nighttime temperatures. Can I still spray my wheat crop with low nighttime temperatures? And this next week, it looks like actually we're going to have some temperatures at night of 3 degrees at night Celsius. So, kind of 37 Fahrenheit in that ballpark. You really want the nighttime temperatures to be over 3 Celsius if you are putting lots of things in the tank. If you're putting a growth regulator, a herbicide, and a fungicide, it's the rule of 3. 3 things in the tank. It needs to be 3 degrees Celsius for 3 days, the day before you spray, the day you spray, and the day after. And you just, again, it's great technology, but there's lots of things that just have a negative impact. And then I had a client actually yesterday send me a note saying, Pete, I want to spray, but you want 3 degrees Celsius, so we haven't sprayed yet. And guess what? Now it's too darn windy. We can't spray because it's too windy. So, yeah, she's just not one of those things that's simple, Shaun.
What if I up my rate? Does that get me over this hurdle?
So if you up your rate in a burn down with Aragon ahead of soybeans, you're going to injure the soybeans.
Okay.
Right? So that rate is a really narrow thing on soybeans.
You're taking away all my corner cutting. I see what you're doing here. You're telling me I got to follow the labels.
Well, actually, what I just want is I want people to have good results. And by the way, the last segment we left off as if it was just all down. It's not all down. Dang it! The wheat crop looks good. It's an early start to spring. Everybody said the ice cover on the Great Lakes was, the worst it's been in 5 or 10 years. It's going to be a late spring. Ice cover doesn't matter. We got a drought in April. We're in the field early. So not everybody, but a lot of growers. And things are looking generally good, but pay attention because it does matter how you do these different things, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, on the Farmer Rapid Fire on Thursdays and through just the winter conference season and talking to so many growers, I'll tell you, people on the prairies, the northern plains, kochia, resistant kochia.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gross.
And so for the western farmers, it's kochia. For the eastern farmers, it's fleabane. Now for the eastern farmers, it's also water hemp. You go south, it's Palmer amaranth. The Palmer amaranth is working its way up. Water hemp is working its way up. This resistance game, and actually, Andrew from Alberta had a great question. He sent me a super question. He said, like, wheat canola rotation, and I don't recall all the details, but he had like group 2, 4, 9, and I believe 14 in his wheat crop, and then he went group 2, 5. Well, that isn't quite right. I'd have to look, but anyway, he had 4 groups of modes of action he was using in his wheat crop. He had 4 group modes of action he was using in his canola crop, but the only difference was the canola crop had a group 14 and the wheat had a group 27 or vice versa. And his question was, like, how much overlap? And so this concept of multiple modes of effective action, Shaun, right? And his at the end of it, he kind of said, so what about tillage? Right? Like, a lot of guys here are saying we'll never get resistance, but we're using the same modes of action, even though there are multiple modes in both of those crops. What about tillage? And Shaun, tillage is another mode of action. You know that I'm Peter No-Till. You know that I don't really like tillage. But when it comes to weed control, if you have resistance and you can help manage resistance by tillage, that's an additional mode of action. Just don't ever say to me that no weed is resistant to iron, because that's malarkey. Like,
okay, so explain.
Oh, come on. If no weed was resistant to tillage, why did we ever need herbicides? Because you go back when my dad first started farming in the early 40s, there weren't herbicides, and he fought quackgrass, he fought mustard, he fought lots of different weeds, even though he did everything he could from a tillage standpoint. It was plow in July when it's hot and dry, because that slowed the quackgrass down as much as possible. But tillage doesn't stop Canada thistle. It doesn't stop perennial sow thistle. It doesn't stop quackgrass, twitchgrass, couchgrass. There's many different names. So don't give me this malarkey that there's no weed that is resistant to iron, because there's lots of weeds that tolerate a lot of iron. And actually, without glyphosate, the number one weed without glyphosate was quackgrass. And now we don't even talk about quackgrass, because glyphosate has solved that problem for us. Yeah. So, yeah, resistance, big thing, and tillage is another tool in the toolbox.
We used to fight a ton of downy brome.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, like, every area is a little different, but there's if there was nothing resistant to iron, we never would have needed herbicides. So just don't go down that road. Pete doesn't buy that malarkey.
Okay, well, that's fair. That is fair. Hey, with volatile markets and rising costs, now's your chance to be a part of the solution. It's time to secure your future with Genesis Fertilizers. Gain and control and ensure access to locally produced nitrogen. Act now to protect your farm's future for generations. Visit genesisfertilizers.com to learn more. Shaun Haney, Peter P. Johnson, back right after this. Every farmer defines success differently, and every farm has its own unique challenges. Corteva Biologicals is partnering with Canadian farmers for their success, offering unique solutions that improve and protect crops from start to finish, based on each field's needs. Using proven predictable solutions across all crop stages, Corteva Biologicals helps build healthy, productive, and profitable farms. Corteva Biologicals, we're growing together.
It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Hey, this segment's brought to you by Ag Expert. Deep in the fields and deep in the data to back up your decisions on the farm. Get started at agexpert.ca. Pete, we've been talking about killing weeds and resistance and things like that. I'll tell you what's not going to help all this. What's not going to help is if, by chance, Bayer were to follow through with, they sort of floated some said an untruth threat, or I probably some truth to it. They wouldn't float it if they weren't thinking about it. Due to all these liability issues in the courts in the United States, Bayer has said they may potentially just have to withdraw Roundup from the market in the U.S. Period.
It's just, Shaun, come on. That would have such an incredible impact on agriculture across the United States. And if it's out of the United States,
it's out of
how
Canada.
long?
Come on.
Right. And it almost for sure, it's always the lowest common denominator. If the amount of DON I can have in wheat in Europe is 1 part per million, that's the threshold for everywhere. We lose glyphosate, farming changes overnight.
Well, and some people have said to me, okay, well, hey, they're going to just pull the branded product off the market, but there's still going to be generic glyphosate. No, there's not. What company's taking on that liability?
Yeah, exactly. So I all I can say is I hope someone still takes on that liability, because we need that molecule. It's, even though we have resistance to it, it's still the base of all reduced tillage farming. And in Western Canada, in Western United States, even here in Ontario, I mean, last Tuesday, Shaun, we had the wind from Hades. I couldn't believe, you looked at the wind maps and all of the wind was converging and coming right up Ontario.
Yep.
And we had 80-kilometer-an-hour winds with gusts to 120, and the amount of soil moving, it was hazy. It looked like the Dust Bowl from the 30s, and where there was some residue, because people were out working fields. We were actually drilling soybeans into corn stalks that we'd run over once with the RTS. So almost all the corn stalks, well, actually all the corn stalks still on the surface. And yeah, we had a little dust moving, but the conventional till field right beside us with no residue, it was blowing so much dirt that I could hardly see the dust getting in your eyes, the haze, like unbelievable. And so if we have to go back to full-scale tillage because we don't have glyphosate.
Oh, God.
Right. Oh. Thank you. Exactly.
Gee,
exactly.
Well, I'm just looking this week in Saskatoon. We've got days of wind, 27 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, 36 kilometers an hour, 2 days of 20, a 22, 28, 25. And just imagine if we had to get in the situation where we were summer following again.
Oh yeah, we're not doing that, Shaun. We can't do that. We just cannot go back there.
But Pete, if I had to till in the light ground, if I had to till to get rid of my weeds, I don't know how I would continue this crop.
Yeah,
there's probably, hey, listen, I probably have stayed for some. There's probably I could. Okay, I think for a lot of people they'd be like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. We would suck so much moisture out of the soil, and never mind if it didn't blow away. Like if you're in like a Kindersley or you're in a Lethbridge where, like, it is windy in Lethbridge relentlessly, people.
Yeah. It's the windiest place, I think, in Canada, maybe in North America. I don't know. Frickin' Lethbridge, it's a harsh climate from that standpoint.
And light soil.
And Shaun, you were talking Saskatchewan with all those winds. And it would just have such a huge negative impact. And it's all because people are not paying attention to the science. How many doggone studies do we need to do? I think now, and don't quote me, Shaun, because I'd have to actually look it up, but I used to quote 2,200 studies on glyphosate, the most intensively studied chemical on the face of the earth, that said glyphosate was safe. I believe now that number might be over 3,000 studies. And how is it that you can lose court cases when the science is that solid? I don't understand. But please, Bayer, don't do it. And please, the U.S. legal system, pay attention to the science, because dang it, agriculture needs that tool.
Well, I'm here in D.C. this week, and one of the people I'm going to get a chance to interview is Lee Zeldin, who is the head of the EPA. And this is one of the questions I have on my list, because I said this on Friday's show. Okay, we're putting tariffs on foreign produced 2,4-D. We're getting EPA getting slower in terms of registering new products, and we're trying to kick out products that we've scientifically proven are fine to use, and we're kicking them out. And whether that's the glyphosate, whether what else would all be on that list?
So I mean, certainly a bunch of the pyrethroids, are coming under the gun. Matador, we lost here in Canada for a while, like lambda cyhalothrin,
yes.
Called Warrior in the U.S. And you just go, oh, yeah.
So we're trying to, we're pushing those out. At some point, we're going to be addicted to steel again. That is a major concern, I think, as we're fighting an enemy, the weed, that is continually winning.
Well, the more pressure we put on the weed, it's going to survive. It evolves to survive, right? But we just cannot go back to full scale tillage, fall moldboard plow or whatever, because of as you said, the erosion risk, the wind erosion, the tillage erosion. Tillage erosion on sloping soil is 10 times worse than wind and water combined.
Whoa.
10 times worse. And you see how much wind erosion we get, and you don't notice the tillage erosion, but 10 times, and you go like, oh my gosh, come on, people. Let's use some common sense. I shouldn't have said that, because
that's out the door, Pete.
Common sense is not all that common. That's the unfortunate reality.
Okay. Well, hey, before we wrap up here, we got some areas in parts of the U.S. with major head scab or fusarium concerns.
Oh, what is this? Is this Agronomy Monday downer day, or what? What's going on here, man?
Okay, things are great.
Things are, but yeah. So please pay attention if you are in the south central or southern U.S., even up into central U.S. Look at the head scab map, because I've never seen it this red, Shaun. It's red Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kansas, Oklahoma, even up into Iowa, Illinois. It's like it's a burning hot map.
So why? Conditions are like
100%. It's 100% weather. It's rainfall. It's temperature. And so, and I mean, I expect the wheat in Texas is probably advanced enough that we maybe don't care in southern Texas that the fusarium risk is high. But in that band, and I'm not sure exactly where it's heading out and at anthesis, where it's pollinating, man, wherever it's pollinating, and you look at that map, and there's a bunch of wheat in that area that's pollinating right now, and as I said, it's just, I've never seen it that red. It could be an epidemic year if that holds true. So monitor and spray, right? We have fungicides that give good control. There's a fungicide pick your favorite company. They almost all have a good fusarium fungicide. try and spray the wheat crop if you're at high risk. Make sure you use the right nozzles, the right water volume. There's lots of data out there. 20 gallons of water, at least forward, back facing nozzles, but that wheat needs sprayed.
And it may have been dry the whole growing season. And it just needs to rain at flowering time, and we got a problem, correct?
That's correct. It rains just before flowering, and then if it rains at flowering, so there's different windows, but yeah, right around heading, if it rains, it doesn't matter how dry it was before that, baby, you can get fusarium.
This rust and fusarium, like wheat's got its own, like we talk about all these other like troubles that corn has, but wheat, it's got some diseases that chases it too.
There is no crop on the face of this planet that does not have disease issues, Shaun. So don't you be picking just on my wheat crop.
I'm not. But it's always fascinating when a new crop goes to an area. Like when soybeans first came to Manitoba, people are like, this is so easy. There's no disease. You just grow, you plant it, and it grows. It's the same thing with Ontario farmers talking about canola. This is like a low. I will not. I had a couple of farmers say to me, canola, I've been growing canola. It's a low management crop. Pardon?
Yeah.
But it's just new to the area, right?
Right.
And disease and things catch up. And it's just
and it is winter canola. And so the windows of disease exposure are different for winter canola because we've grown spring canola here for a while. And that is not a low management crop. But winter canola, we're escaping right now. Anyway, keep doing it while it works, but just pay attention.
Good stuff. Hey, Pete, you have yourself a great week, okay?
You as well, Shaun. This has been an absolute blast, man.
What are you doing this week, by the way?
Oh, Shaun, it is the first week of May, and you have to ask me this question.
Golfing?
Golfing. No, Pete is trying to plant his corn. He's scouting all the clients' crops. He's talking to farmers. By the way, keep sending Pete messages. I don't care if you email, you text, you Twitter. I'm getting tons of questions from people. I live on feedback. Keep it up. I love it.
Yeah, great stuff. Make sure everybody, too, while you're on the tractor, you listen to Wheat Pete's Word. Okay? New episode drops every single Wednesday, where Pete answers your questions and gives you the best advice he possibly can to the best of his knowledge. And if he doesn't have the answer, Pete, what do? You find it, right?
100%. I ask somebody who does know the answer.
He's searching always for a lot of people. He's always looking.
Yeah.
You didn't get that joke, Pete? Come on. Okay. Okay, everybody, we're going to be right back on RealAg Radio. Rural Radio 147 right after.
At Vatterstad, we aim to be the world's leading partner for outstanding emergence. We're doing that through innovative tillage, planting, and seeding equipment that's optimized for your field conditions and soil types. We also offer industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in shorter windows of time. It's all designed to give your crop the best start possible so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
How's your seed quality? What should you treat with? What about herbicide carryover and environmental concerns? Spring is here, and you've got a lot of things to think about in regards to your pulse crop. The Pulse School on Real Agriculture has information and advice for all these questions and more to help you navigate this season. Brought to you by BASF. Pulse School episodes are available at pulseschool.com, realagriculture.com, or as a podcast on your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
It's definitely one of those weeks where just out and about. This is kind of my last week of real travel. I was in North Dakota on the weekend wearing my, for those of you watching on video, wearing my You Mary shirt. My oldest son plays for the University of Mary in Bismarck, and they lost 2 of 3 to the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs on the weekend. Tough one. We could have won game 3. It was a heartbreak. Guy hit a home run, top of 9 to take the lead, and so that was a tough. So we got the conference, the NSIC conference tournament in Sioux Falls. So I'll be in Sioux Falls here on the weekend. Going to go from DC to Sioux Falls. So I'll be there in Sioux Falls on Wednesday. So if there's any RealAg Radio listeners around Sioux Falls are going to be at the NSIC baseball tournament, I will be there. So look out for my ugly face. So yeah, and then home. Then what? It's kind of normal travel. We will. I'm kind of looking forward to that, to be honest with you. But college baseball will be over, and yeah, on to just not traveling and being at the studio every day. It's going to feel kind of weird. I'm not sure what Christy is going to think about that, but I am looking forward to it. Indeed. Hey, make sure you send us your feedback. We do appreciate that. The email address, of course, is shaney@realagriculture.com. Your feedback is always welcomed. Pete, mentioned just there that it's always great to get feedback from the audience. We do appreciate it, and if we don't have the answers, we try to find them for you, and we're always searching for stuff, trying to provide you with the insight on what's happening in terms of the world of agriculture. Hey, understanding the challenges you face. Nutrient Ag Solutions works with you to find the right solution every time. Nutrient Ag Solutions is one partner, all in. Visit nutrientagsolutions.ca to learn how their offerings work together to support your operation. Now, big news, okay? Big news. So, for those of you that are real fans of RealAgriculture.com, you know that we've been doing, so we do RealAg Radio throughout the week on Rural Radio 147. It's great to be on satellite radio. On the weekends, on Saturdays, we have been on 650 CQM and 980 CJME in Saskatchewan. And we do this show called RealAg on the weekend. Now, sometimes it's new content. Sometimes it's stuff that, the best of the week, and we grab it and we put it. It's an hour-long weekend show. Well, big news. We had a bit of a soft launch here on the weekend. But we have launched RealAg on the weekend also in Alberta. That's right. It's going to be on QR Calgary and 880 Ched. Hilarious. On Sunday, heard from a farmer friend of mine who was out in the Cedar, and he's like, whoa, what? Why are you on Ched? When did this happen? I listen to Ched all the time, and I've never heard you on here before, besides doing the random odd interview in the morning show once in a while. Yep. Starting May 4th, so yesterday, we're on 880 Ched and QR Calgary. RealAg on the weekend, Sundays at 2 o'clock. So we've now got RealAg on the weekend in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Awesome stuff, like really cool. I'm pumped about it. Just gives us great coverage, great opportunity to expand our audience to people that are big fans of those radio stations across. They got great coverage across Alberta, and I'm really looking forward to bringing RealAg on the weekend to the Chorus Radio Network, and maybe we'll add provinces in the future. That would be great. The show's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and just like I said, sometimes it's the best of the week. Sometimes it's some of the stuff that. Added stuff specifically for the prairie provinces because it is heard in the prairies on terrestrial radio. So please check it out if you are in those regions. Well, if you have any feedback on today's program, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also, of course, call the RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. Well, tomorrow, Lindsay Smith will be with you. She'll be your host, and I'm going to be doing some real networking here in D.C., and I'll bring back some stories for you, I am sure. Thanks, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio. We'll chat again this week. Cheers, everybody.